welcome back to, what's the name of the show?
The Fire You Can't Put Out.
Well, this is the second show of, what's the name of the show again?
Second show of The Fire You Can't Put Out, and the last one for year 2012.
Right, the last one, the second and the last
the
one.
second and last one for
Sounds
2012.
pretty weird. Well, the funny thing is, as of right now that we tape the show, which is very close to the end of 2012, and the world hasn't ended yet.
That's right.
Right. So I was counting on that because I don't really want to wash my car. Right. I don't know if I actually mentioned this last time. I don't want to wash my car because I don't know. I mean, well, last time we mentioned. Well, okay. Well, first of all, last time. Because as of right now, the show isn't out there on the streets yet. We were still making arrangement with Open Sky Radio down in San Francisco. Right. But hopefully by the time you got to listen to this show, the first show is also available. But like the last time, you listened to the last show, but Open Sky Radio, they have a large audience in Hong Kong. So, and Hong Kong there's no snow in Hong Kong. At least not yet, right? Because you never know, this planet, how it's going, you never know, right? But
those poles were supposed to shift.
Right. So, wow, there will be snow in Hong Kong, it'll be a disaster, right? But they don't know this. But we have snow here we're in Spokane, Washington, USA, and it snows quite a bit over here in winter. And we're looking at outside the studio right now.
Packed snow and ice right outside the studio right now.
The beautiful thing is we do have a white Christmas over here.
We do.
But the really bad thing about it is we have to drive on it. Right? So I guess, man, I launched into a tangent right away. Because it's like it's all about me. It's all about tangents, but I think that our listeners in Hong Kong probably don't know this. But it's nice. Snowing is nice for the first night, but after that, things go nasty.
Driving out is probably the worst thing because I'm sure they have roller rinks there, or ice skating rinks. Just imagine driving your car on an ice skating rink, and that's really what it's like.
And that's only beginning of the fun, because the city and the county will start putting stuff on the road, so to just keep the road drivable.
Traction.
So they would put sand and then salt. Some city put salt on it. So that stuff, when you drive around town, that stuff get on your car, and your car get dirty.
Yeah.
And that stuff doesn't come off. And you can't just hose it down because it's freezing out there.
Right.
So you don't want a chunk of ice on your car.
We don't have our hoses turned on this time of year. There's
no
water supply outside of the house.
21 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right now it's 21 degrees Fahrenheit, and I know most everywhere in the world they do Celsius. So there's -5 out there.
Celsius is quite a bit lower.
Okay. Hopefully this tangent is over, this weather tangent. So I think, this is the end of the year. So even though this is only the second show, I was like, wow, why don't we do kind of a rap or a New Year resolution, but kind of a more involved New Year resolution thing, as in in a civic or in a national level.
Right.
What do you want to see this year? Not in a personal level, because becoming a vegetarian.
I may or may not throw out one or two personal things.
Try to exercise every night. Already I'm doing it. But what do we want to see? Any policies that you want to see implemented, or at least at the end of this year?
Quite honestly, this whole past year, because it was an election year, was obviously completely uncivil, and I spent most of it just on pins and needles, wondering whether or not we were going to retain Obama or get in Richie Rich, who was completely so. Spent the whole year stressed out. Okay, fine, we've got our president back, but half of our Congress is still completely uncooperative.
Right.
So I would like to see John Boehner. I don't like to call him that. I'd like to see him lose his leadership position because he can't get his party in order.
There is a good chance he's going to
lose
that.
The bad news about that is, you're going to have Eric Cantor.
Yes.
And it's not an improvement.
No, I guess you're right.
Well, I mean, in terms of he's more.
You think
even,
Cantor would get? I mean, because he's the second.
Well, he's more even to that end of it, the Tea Party wing of the party, right? So he'll in terms of, I know Boehner isn't. I mean, right now, if you're right now in the news, right now is they're talking all about this fiscal cliff thing, and the president that just made a statement yesterday. Let's right. Today is the 29th of December. On the 28th, he made a statement. Came out and made a statement and says, "Hey, basically says I put everything on the table. It's time you guys move a little bit." So, and I think one of the things that we were talking about before the show is a week ago. I think there was some words coming out of the White House that the president is willing to put some part of Social Security on the discussion, and the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, progressive wing, I guess us, people on the outside, just were angry as heck. I thought we all thought, Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid is not going to be on the table at all. Why is the president doing that? Oh my God, is that Obama showing up again? But I think that's brilliant as a tactic because right now I think that's he retracted
it's
that.
Brilliant.
That's not going to happen.
It's brilliant as a tactic because nobody is for it. Republicans aren't even for it because they too collect Social Security. So nobody likes that idea. The Republicans love that idea because they call it an entitlement program, which is just fabulous because it's not. People pay into it. If you put money in the bank, you go get your money, you don't go, well, you're getting free money. No, you put it there.
The fixing Social Security is, I think Al Franken put this like a long time ago. He already said this. The only thing you need to do is bump up
lift the cap.
The ceiling.
Well, yeah, you just lift the cap on it because right now, if you make, I believe it's more than $105,000, you don't pay it. You don't pay into it.
Exactly.
Just lift the cap. But even without doing anything at all,
which is ridiculous.
Solve it somewhere between 21 and 27 years without doing anything at all, and then after that, it'll only be able to pay out 90 or 95% of benefits, and then 2 years after that, only 80% of benefits. So we've still got 2 decades before we have to do anything about it. But successful messaging allows the Republicans to say Social Security is a problem. Paying for all these veterans, it's a problem. The VA and everything.
Right. Well, that's another whole.
50-gallon
drum of worms. VA.
Well, and they'll point to the fact that more baby boomers are retiring every day, which is another thing that isn't quite true. Because of the economy, the downturn in this economy, a lot of baby boomers are not indeed retiring. In fact, some companies are having to incentivize people, please retire because we have all these new people we're going to hire and we need you to be incentivized to move on.
Right. No, but what I was saying is as a tactic from the White House, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Because now he can say that, well, I'm even willing to put Social Security on the table. That this whole Social Security is a time bomb. That totally, not really a time bomb, but it's the thing. One of the things that will really enrage my side. I'm even willing to piss off my own people in order to try to meet you halfway.
It's showing that
you won't even budge.
It's showing that he's actually trying to compromise.
Right.
And the polls are showing that the Republicans will be blamed if we go over the fiscal cliff. And I kind of think we should go over the cliff.
Well, I'm thinking we should go over the cliff as well. And I am looking at people like me, progressives, who are jumping on the bandwagon and saying, how could he do this? He's just a weakling. Why did I vote for this guy? All the stuff that's coming out, I'm looking at as not helpful at all.
Right.
And really without any insight.
Right. Yeah. Through the last 4 years, we have, I think the president is really good at politicking, I think
so too.
And he has done numerous things that actually enraged people on the outside.
Yes.
Let's say the drones.
Oh, the drones.
The drones, absolutely.
I mean, that's done. I kind of understand why it need to be done, but anyway. So
Well, and after the tea baggers got in, after the 2010 election, I remember John Boehner coming out and saying after the negotiations, I got 98% of what I wanted. Really? Why'd you get 98% of what you wanted when we have a progressive president?
Right.
So what I'm hoping after these negotiations is either he's fired, or if he makes a statement, he comes out and I got maybe 5% of what I don't think he should get anything. He shouldn't get anything.
No.
Well,
I mean,
you guys lost an election, and they probably would have lost a house had it not been for the gerrymandering that was the result of the census that happened back in 2010. They gerrymandered. They redrew all those districts, making them shaped like salamanders rather than hexagons or squares or anything. And so they did that so that they had lots and lots of safe seats.
Right, and then the problem with that is, I'm not seeing, unless something really insane happened, I'm not seeing the Democrats, even if they take back the House, I'm not seeing they have like a huge majority, back in 2006 and 2008.
There's an awful lot of blue dogs. I think for both parties, for the Republicans, they need to dump all the they need to dump all the teabaggers, and then we need to start ousting blue dogs.
Right. So, well, okay, it's getting kind of heavy right
Oh,
away.
well,
Right?
let's lighten it up.
Then might as well bring that, in the pre-show when we were talking about what we're going to talk about. There was one thing that Angela brought up that it's kind of heavy. So we're not gonna let's not go all heavy at the end of the year. But hey, guess what? It's news when it's happening. You don't really have a choice. So,
Correct.
Go ahead.
The U.S. Senate just passed a 5-year extension to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act.
And what date is it? It's
FISA.
28th, right?
This is, that was the 28th. The U.S. House passed it earlier in 2012, and it now goes to the White House, where the president is expected to sign it. So, what this bill has in it is a lot of government surveillance of communications between individuals, companies and individuals, on the internet, on phones, any other place you want to think about it, emails.
Without warrants, without a judge's approval.
And this is one of the things that, a minute ago we were talking about a lot of things that President Obama did that didn't make progressives or liberals happy.
Well,
but this is one of these things because I think that the pipe dream. I think I can say pipe dream right now, right after the couple of months after the election, before inauguration in 2008, when liberals and progressive, especially the hardline progressives. Sounds funny, doesn't it? Hardline progressive. They put the wish list that putting together is maybe President Obama is going to put an end to the Patriot Act. Well, it didn't happen.
Oh, see, that would have that.
So, and this is one of these things that I think liberals and progressives going to keep complaining about. Because even that report that you just read says the president is expected to sign it.
Well, go ahead.
Okay, as Melvin pointed out earlier, the vote on it is veto proof.
Right.
So if he vetoes it, it goes right back to Congress, and they just say, we're overriding that.
He could do a protest veto, but it's just going to come back. And it's interesting to me how many Republicans voted for this, because they are the most paranoid people we have. Right. And they're always complaining about big government and Big Brother. And then the people that they sent to Washington just voted for it overwhelmingly.
Yes.
Right.
And so there's their big government voting for surveillance overwhelmingly,
making
and they're
it bigger.
Afraid. Yes.
No, I mean, I can't believe this little argument always is out there when you talk about Patriot Acts and why warrantless wiretap. Well, if you don't do anything wrong, what are you afraid of? That argument is always.
Well, yeah, and that's what they say. Well, I don't mind a little bit because they got to catch the bad people. Well,
but the thing about that is, a lot of that, bad people, good people, a lot of that stuff is sometimes it's conditional. As in, do you? Well, I mean, I think every single one of us have certain experience flying at TSA. some of us has more trouble
Oh, I'm
going
sure.
through TSA, as in me.
Do you look like a
Even
terrorist?
though, no, even
I don't understand.
even I'm Chinese, right? But I get searched every time.
Yep.
And it might be because, but you know, I do have friends who are Caucasian, but they grow a beard.
Yeah.
They got searched every time.
Well, yes, you've gotten the ultra deluxe pat down. I actually went through one of the scanners too, which I didn't. Someone told me later those are bad. You probably shouldn't go through. But here's the thing. I didn't want the pat down because I didn't want to miss my damn plane.
Right.
So I went ahead and I went through one of those scanners and even just the once. And this was over in Reagan Airport in DC.
DC, yeah.
And the whole time I was like, I've got cancer now. I'm going to die.
Right.
You know, those things. I don't think those things are safe. And it blows my mind that not only are we walking people through them every day, but there's TSA people standing right next to them all day.
Right.
And
Getting
you know,
that
and you know that they're
radiation.
radiating. And it's so 20 years down the road they'll say, well, I got this cancer or that cancer
like-
from working next to those things, and they'll just throw their hands up and go, nope. You didn't get it. Like with the 9/11 responders, they go, no, you breathed in bad air, you got sick, you died, whatever. It wasn't from 9/11. You must have had it beforehand.
Which is interesting because I think there was a independent study came out recently, like I think in the past week, that says the 9/11 has nothing to do with the dust and all the pollution after the 9/11, after the terrorist attack, has nothing to do with the cancer that came after.
Right.
That was a really old building, and there was a lot of asbestos in that building, and it's crazy to me that they're even trying to make that claim.
Wow. Yeah, but that's like a totally different story.
Right.
Because you can't even pull up your
off.
kitchen floor in this.
No, you can't.
No. But you know, I think there is a reason why they kind of snuck this one in. Is that the right word?
No, that's no.
At the end of the congressional, at the end of the year, at the end of the
a lot of people aren't paying attention right now.
During the fiscal cliff talks.
Right. When the news is focusing somewhere else, and they pass this.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's one of these things that if this is a movie and there are clear-cut bad guys and good guys running all around, and it's like the bad guys basically have a name tag that says bad guys. We're gonna be okay. But I know the real world. Real world doesn't go all black and white. That's a horrible analogy. I know we use that, but it isn't like that. So there's always a chance that something will go wrong legally, or something will go wrong.
I want to make a prediction on the fiscal cliff. I think we're
going back to fiscal cliff.
No, I'm sorry. I have to do this because I think I'm 95% right on this. Right. I think we're going to go over the cliff, and then something will finally be done. Because what happens now is Obama and the Democrats want taxes raised, and the Republicans have said, no, we've signed this thing to Grover Norquist. We can't do that. But after the new year, the Bush tax cuts expire, so the Republicans can come back. And they, we didn't raise taxes; they just raised themselves. Right. And then Grover Norquist can say,
they're off the hook.
Right, and Grover, you're off the hook, Right. And then they can write in some lower class tax cuts, under 250 tax cuts, and go, hey, we didn't raise taxes, and we just cut taxes for the under 250 crowd again.
Right. Well, okay. Well, let's wrap up the FISA thing.
Go ahead.
If I could say something, the FISA thing makes me see a lot of things with more clarity, and that is the paranoid culture that is the American culture.
Right.
Okay. So last time we did a program, we talked about gun control and we talked about gun regulation. And the thing is, here we sit in a violent culture, paranoid. We're all afraid of each other.
Right.
In response to the Connecticut massacre of school children, people ran out and bought more guns.
Right.
Okay. I mean, it was overwhelming. They couldn't keep some things on the shelves, including bulletproof backpacks for school children. Right. I don't even want to go there.
I think we kind of talk about that last time.
Right.
But we don't even have a workable national gun registry. We're talking about FISA, where we can actually surveil, and I hate to use that word as a verb, but where we actually can look at what everybody's saying in email and communications on a national level. But we can't even keep track of who has what weapon in a national database, so that what you actually see on some television shows in America, where they just dial in the serial numbers of a rifle and they can figure out who it belongs to. Yeah, that doesn't exist. If you watch those American shows, we can't do that.
Right, no.
We don't have that capability. So we have such a paranoid culture, and it feeds on itself. We have surveillance at the federal level.
Right.
We have people running around who are afraid of their government, and that's why they're saying they are stockpiling weapons.
And then they're giving
and it
them
gets
more
bigger
power.
And bigger and bigger.
You know what? Okay.
It silly doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Well, okay, well, this is kind of a tangent. But
yes, it is.
I saw... No, I'm launching.
You're going to get onto it.
No, go ahead.
I saw it on... what show was it? It's MSNBC with Chris Matthews.
Oh, Hardball.
Hardball, the other day.
Yeah.
He's interviewing this guy, some gun lobbyist or somebody.
And there's a couple.
There's a million of them,
right?
Right?
Well, he didn't actually have Wayne LaPierre on there, did he?
No,
somebody else.
Wayne
Okay.
LaPierre. You know, see what George Carlin
enough
says
of
about
him.
Wayne LaPierre. but go find it on YouTube. Is there? So he was saying that one of the, it's going back to the Second Amendment thing, it's going back to the whole argument that citizens have to be ready and armed just in case they have to, I'm really simplifying it, but, it's like you have to be armed and ready, and just in case the government don't want to do stuff to you, can fight back, right?
Right.
So Chris Matthews keep asking him, well, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? So I guess and the guy wouldn't get right to the point. You have to defend yourself from the government. I guess, this is a horrible thing to even think about.
Yes.
But I guess what he's saying is, if you don't like what the elected officials are doing, you take them out. You do a violent coup d'état thing. I thought we're over that. I thought that's why we have elections.
Well,
I thought this is a democracy. But what are these people thinking?
I think that's.
You know what? If you like to live in Somalia, go there.
Go live in Somalia.
If you want no government and lots of guns,
and guess what?
I've been making that argument for years. Go to Somalia. There's no government and there's guns everywhere.
Go to Afghanistan. Horrible to say. This is a horrible thing to say to.
No, at least they have government there.
Right. Horrible thing to say to in regard to the people of Afghanistan, right? Because they are being put in that kind of a condition.
Yes, they are.
But why would it's ridiculous that some of the people even think that's a viable thinking and policy. That okay, if you don't like what the elected official says, they should fear you because you have guns.
Because you have a gun.
Right. I thought we were over that.
I thought we were too.
Well, how many presidential assassinations are there in our history?
I can't even think about that.
I'm sorry. I mean, it makes me gasp.
Right.
It's a good point, because Obama's gotten like 10 times more than any president.
Right.
Threats.
And there are several people serving prison terms right now because they were convicted of making threats against the president.
Or shooting at the White House.
There was that one incident where they actually shooting at the damn White House.
Right.
He wasn't in there at the time.
Well, to be fair, though, Clinton has one happen too. Remember that one? But that one is just the guy went nuts and just keep firing AK-47 at the White House. That during Clinton's time. But I can't even think. I'm sorry. I can't. I can't even think that.
Our culture romanticizes violence and guns, and so I think anybody feels like if they have a gun that they have power, and I don't think they. I mean, obviously, we didn't build a country so that we could just take it down with arms one day, and then even if you could take down your government with your guns, which isn't going to happen because they've got missiles and tanks and helicopters. Even if you could take your government down with your guns, then what?
But that shouldn't even be the way you think.
I know.
It should be like,
Excuse me, who is the government in this country?
We are the government.
Thank you.
We the people.
So
people.
You can take each other down, because we are the. I think that idea. It's a simple, basic idea, but I think it gets lost on a lot of people. When people say government, they think of this big thing with these people that are untouchable and this faceless leader. But it's not them. We send them there.
Right.
The government is us.
They are responsible to us.
I mean, as much as we want to dump on politicians, I think the wonderful thing about being here and living here is you can actually talk to them.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, even though
about them.
Yeah, you can call the office directly, and
Yep.
you can.
And you can have a podcast where you actually.
I actually met Senator Kenwell and Senator Murray. They are like right there. They're
Right.
they're
awesome.
like 2 feet from me, right? You can actually meet, officials, elected officials like
Right.
that, and even on a more local level, right?
Or the governor of the state was at Eastern's
Right.
commencement.
I don't know if CMR want to actually see us, Kathy McMorris.
I know.
No, she wouldn't. No, she absolutely no.
But I think at least we have a
There's
chance
a great
to work.
YouTube of that too.
Yeah, work for people who we like, that we would like to see, on that position instead of Kathy McMorris, right?
Right.
But that's a totally another.
Of
Okay.
course.
Well, I don't know. We're gonna get lighter on this show right now because
I've got a real fun. I was in D.C. earlier this year in March, and I was standing in front of the White House, just kind of with everyone else, and Dennis Kucinich, who by the way, I in the primary I voted for, and then of course when he didn't win, I voted for Obama. Went with Obama and tried to become a delegate for
I
Obama.
still have Kucinich shirts.
But Kucinich was my guy that year. And so I'm standing in front of the White House, and him and his wife just walked by, and I go, there's no way that's Dennis Kucinich. And all these people ran up to him, and I was stunned. I was starstruck because Kucinich is one of my favorites.
Dennis.
Yeah.
Well,
and,
okay,
and,
for those
and I didn't even say anything to him. I just stood there and I go, I really should say something. I should say, and then I walked away, and the whole day I was like, oh, God, I should have said something.
Well, for those listeners who are in Hong Kong who doesn't know who Dennis Kucinich is, Dennis Kucinich used to be, and very sad to say this,
Yeah.
he used to be a congressman from Ohio, from the Cleveland area.
Yep.
But he was they basically killed his district
Right,
because
well,
of redistricting.
Redistricting killed it, and then
he was ousted by a fellow Democrat in the primary.
correct.
So now Dennis is, I think, the last month or even a couple of weeks of his being a congressman, and I think he'll have more. But he is a very liberal.
He is, and
very
that's
progressive.
why I liked him. He was actually considering a move to
Washington State. I
which
wish he does.
I wish he would have.
We'll put him in instead of Kathy McMorris.
No. I think
more-
what he might do. Well, okay, this is like total speculation on my part.
Yes.
Jim McDermott got retired sometimes because Jim McDermott is getting pretty. I mean, this old dude, right?
Right.
So it will be pretty fun if we, groom,
Yes.
Kucinich to take over Jim McDermott's position. Because I think if you plug Dennis Kucinich in Seattle, he's going to win.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to win by
absolutely.
60-40 at least,
Yes.
right?
Right.
So anyway, let's get to the New Year resolution
All right.
part of the show. All right. So who want to go first? What you want to see? New Year's resolution. What you want to see this country in terms of a national or local policies at the end of 2013. I can't even think this.
I want to
2013.
I want to see the Tea Party
Right.
finally crawl off under the rock they emerged from.
Done. I'll second that. I want to see them gone, and I don't think that they're sustainable because they're not a real party.
First of all, to the listeners in Hong Kong and everywhere else in the world, let's explain a little bit what the Tea Party is.
Okay.
I'm sure you can Google it.
Imagine a group of radical people who cannot even spell,
Right. Yeah.
holding up signs to protest too much government, and yet they would be the first ones who would support a policy like the FISA.
Right.
Because they are paranoid people.
I mean, a lot of that stuff came from the hatred towards President Obama.
After the 2000.
I mean, we all remember. I'm pretty sure we all remember footage, and they have these town hall meetings right after 2008, all over the place,
Right.
all over the place,
Right.
And I'm sure you see YouTube it. But I'm sure you remember seeing these footage at these town hall meetings that people are going nuts, right? People always almost like try to just,
right.
beat the heck out of each other in these. And I think that kind of partially come from the hatred, absolute hatred towards the president.
And signs with what I can only refer to as the N-word.
Right.
Pure
right.
racism.
It's a lot of racism going on because, it's like, signs like, there's somewhere in Kenya, somewhere in a village in Kenya, missing an idiot. Things like that. There's not even dog whistle. It's a blatant racism, right? So, well, anyway, that's the Tea Party.
They're the furthest right of the Republican Party, but they're not a grassroots group. They were Americans for Prosperity and a lot of these Koch brother groups.
Heritage.
Right, bought buses and rallies and all that
even
stuff.
Even though the Tea Party thing, I mean, the historical reference that
Boston Tea Party.
go way back to the they don't want to pay taxes to taxation without representation to the British government. Well, which is funny because
they
it's
would have been progressives,
country,
by the way,
right?
Well,
here's one thing. This is like kind of psychoanalyzing part of it because the original reference to the Tea Party is we don't want to it's a foreign government basically,
right?
Occupying,
right? It's occupying force, the British. And, I'm sure part of the mentality of this group of people is they are being occupied by this foreign kind of looking
yes.
Person named Obama, which doesn't even sound American.
Oh, there you go.
The Boston,
quote unquote American, right?
Well, they love his middle name. Okay,
right.
can we just bring that up?
The middle name is Hussein.
Okay, the Boston Tea Party, what had happened at that time was the East India Company, which was the Walmart of their time, was getting a gigantic tax break, and they were going to shut out all the mom and pop shops, the tea shops here in town. And so when those boats came into harbor, that was a multi-million-dollar act of vandalism on our part to say you're not going to. Which was an anti-corporatist thing, but our Tea Party now is a pro-corporatist thing.
Wait, what is that name of that company?
The East India Trading Company.
Since I'm from Hong Kong, and
right.
Only it was based in London.
Right.
Yeah, they were a corporation getting a gigantic tax break, and that's what they were protesting. And it's so weird how this new bastardized, if I may, Tea Party is now so pro-corporate and pro Walmart and all these things that kill small businesses, and they claim to be, we're just for original American values. Well, if you don't even know what the original Boston Tea Party was, you don't get to call yourselves Tea Partiers, you're tea baggers. And I know you don't like that word, and that's why I call you that word, because you are your tea baggers.
Okay, well, Google it.
No, don't Google tea bagging, no. There's an urban meaning,
don't Google Santorum.
Yeah.
So, man, we got a lot of really American local references. But I'm right. I agree with you because how radical they are in terms of their point of view and everything. It doesn't really help anybody. No. I mean, it doesn't. Well, number one, it doesn't help the overall discussion on things because they just won't budge, right? But it doesn't help. I do have Republican friends, and it doesn't help them as a party. Because
they are the low information group.
Right.
The most influenced by
Fox News.
If all you are is angry, you're not looking for a discussion. You're looking just to shout people down. And they're just angry. They're not even listening. Yeah. And if you say something that's different from them, well, then you must be some far leftist, America-hating Nazi.
Nazi.
Yeah, right. And I go, wait a minute. Wasn't Hitler far right? No, he was a Democrat. Are you sure? Because he didn't like gay people either.
Right. So I mean, they have a really narrow. Well, should I say they have a really narrow view of what America and American is. I think to a lot of them, the president is not totally American, quote unquote American, in their own definition because, well, guess what? He's kind of dark, right?
And his name is a funny name.
But
I mean, well, we can discuss all we want on that later. But I think, the last two, the election in 2000, I think a lot of that has to do, is kind of is blowback a correct term for this? Because, back in 2000 and 2004, there are a lot of hinkiness going on in terms of the election.
Yep.
Especially in 2000
right.
in Florida.
That was the worst.
Memory search, Al Gore actually won the popular vote,
right?
Yes.
Which we discovered a year later.
So
yes.
for 8 years, progressives and liberals are screaming and yelling about the election
They
fraud.
stole the election.
Right. So I think for 2008 and the last one, 2012. Even though it's pretty clear that President Obama won by a pretty wide margin,
Yep.
even that they keep bringing in the acorn thing. They keep bringing in all kinds of that's
The Black Panthers. That's
Right.
the one
The
that I
Black-
think
the
is
Black- there's like
hilarious.
two guys standing
Two
around.
guys.
3 at best. Yeah,
Right.
it's nobody.
Right,
And
right.
they, and you can find the new Black Panther Party. I went because as soon as I heard the Black Panthers are standing out front of all the polling places, I said, Black Panthers are back. So I Googled it, and yeah, they got a Facebook page. And yeah, it's just like 3 dudes. It's like,
Yeah.
it's
Really
not-
scary
and I go, I remember the original Black Panther, and they were a movement. They were a gigantic group, and they're these 3 guys are, and they weren't standing in front of polling places intimidating white people.
Right. So anyway, the Tea Party thing, that's great because they overall they're not really helping the discussion at all. In terms of policies. Yeah. So Melvin, what do you want to see?
Well, I'd like to see them go away, and I think we will get
Go away
some
peacefully.
Sort of,
Go away peacefully.
please, yeah, don't.
Hopefully-
they're
None of
free
your
to
Second
talk.
Amendment solutions.
Hopefully have family members within these partiers that have some kind of persuasion. It's like, oh, maybe you want to,
It's like Rachel Maddow said.
Yeah.
Some of these people, we love them, but we really need the van to come pick them up.
Right. They
And I hope with what's happening with the fiscal cliff talks that by the end of this year, the president will have more of the people behind him because they'll see the Republicans as completely off the rails and not a party certainly not worth following to any degree. I think that their tent is already small enough, and I think that their people who identify themselves as Republicans or like the Republicans' ideas, it's going to get narrower and narrower. So Tea Party goes away. Republicans have less, and they're going to have to start accepting gay people into their party if they want to win an election. And the numbers on Latinos and African Americans from the last election just came out. Obama got 94% of the African Americans and 74% of the Latinos. You're going to need those groups because those groups aren't exactly getting smaller either. So you can't be if they're racist, they appeal to the deep base, but they can't be racist anymore if they want to start winning elections.
Right, just numbers.
So
it's what is it? Bill
love to see
Clinton.
the blatant
What Bill
racism
Clinton
go
says.
away.
What Bill Clinton says at the convention.
Oh, arithmetic.
Oh, arithmetic.
It's arithmetic.
It's just numbers, man. It's like numbers. Numbers by itself don't lie.
What you guys are saying at unskewedpolls.com is not, which by the way, that website's gone now and it's now impeach Obama.
Right.
Which is incredible.
Well, on the flip side of that is, I think I'm already sensing that because I'm talking about the Democrats in regard to our Latino brothers and sisters. I'm sensing a little bit of laziness in terms of the Democratic Party. You don't take that for granted. You have to keep working in order to make everybody sees that the Democratic Party is better. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
It's like you can't take a demographic for granted. Listen, if you say, oh, okay, they're on our side, then you don't work hard enough to keep them on our side.
Yeah.
And then, it's so
I would really, really like to see a lot more civility, a lot more discussion happening between people. My dad's a Republican, and I'm a self-identified Democratic Socialist, and so we don't talk much. I think that's unfortunate because when we talk about pretty much anything else, where there's not a lot of daylight between us. And I think if people
there's always baseball.
There's that. I don't know what would bring people together, but I think if if we started talking, we'd find we've got a lot more likes than we have differences. And unfortunately, party labels and where you get your news divides us too much. And then we go, well, you're a Republican, so you're so different from me. Actually, I think we all want mostly the same thing, with the exception of the extreme sides of either party. I think those of us in the progressive middle, or I think we all want the same thing, but we don't even talk to each other because we go, well, you get your news from MSNBC and you like the president, so therefore we can't agree on anything, and that's unfortunate, because I think
there's a lot of stereotyping that goes on.
I think we all want the same thing. I think we all want we all want a strong military, but not too strong. We all want police. We all want fire. We all want our kids to feel safe. We all eat. We all want. I mean, there's.
We all want to be successful.
Well, yeah, I think
we all want to raise our children in a successful culture.
But the two sides go, well, you want to destroy the country.
Well, okay,
you want to destroy the country.
Well,
not true.
Well, I know we were trying to get lighter on this, but it looks like it's not going to work.
Well, I feel like I am.
Well, I mean, now you just said. I mean, you want to get away from labels, right?
Right.
But I think, I mean, if there are, I'm going to use another label. If there are a listener who is not really identified with us politically,
right?
It's like, well, you just spent the past 40 minutes, labeling people liberals and conservatives and Tea Partiers. Right. I think there are two levels here, at least two levels here. I think labels are sometimes necessary just as part of the language.
Right.
It's because we, and Angela can speak more to this because you deal with language a lot of times, but you really need, because of how we communicate. We do communicate with a verbal thing most of the time. Right. We do need some kind of a word to identify certain things.
Right.
And I think sorry to bring this back, but in the music podcast, we have a light discussion on, in musical terms, whether any word or any concept at all is neutral by itself. Like the word green. Is the word green actually neutral, really? Or does the word green already imply certain things? Yeah. Well, right. but see, that's the superimposed part of it, right?
Yes.
But is there a concept, or is there a word, even by the word itself? I guess not actually the thing, because I guess the green, we're just talking about science, right? Just green is the substance that absorb everything else but reflect the photons back to you. Then you see green, right? But that in itself is kind of neutral. It doesn't take a side.
Right.
But because of us as human, we have words that through all the years, words beginning to mean things. So when we learned the word green when we were kids, the word green implies certain things that we don't really, you understand what I'm saying?
You're talking about.
I'm getting you.
You're talking about ideas,
right? So that I think because of how the communication is structured, we do need words.
Yes.
We do need labels, but I think there are a couple of levels. There are two levels: the word itself, and all the underlying baggages that come with the word itself.
Right.
I think we label ourselves as liberals, Democrats,
right?
Liberals and progressives, and then we label them, which is a horrible word. I think them. Them, but there's no other way to say them. You know what I'm saying? In this context, conservatives. I guess that's okay. I think. Man, I love that show, West Wing, right?
Yes.
I mean, there's one line in West Wing that, when the story goes, when President Bartlett was doing the president, when he was running for re-election, there was the presidential debate, and he said bipartisan politics is actually good, is what the founding fathers want. I think that's what he meant. I mean, we need competing ideas. Yes, we need competing ideas, but so bring it back to, I think the words are necessary sometimes, the labeling sometimes is necessary, but it doesn't mean that we are totally, or we don't listen. We shut the door.
Well, as long as
I don't know if I'm
as
not.
long as you don't.
I just wasted 3 minutes.
No, you didn't. No, I think you're making a good point. You make yours, and I want to say something.
Well, as long as you don't let the word become something it isn't. So the word liberal and the word conservative, neither one of them should be demonized.
Is negative on its face, right?
Okay, I should be able to talk to somebody who claims to be a conservative, and I should be able to have a respectful conversation, welcoming the fact that they have ideas. And it goes back to what Melvin said a few minutes ago. Right. Honestly, what passes for argument and discussion in this culture is not argument and discussion at all. It is, you're over here, I'm over here. There's a line. Don't cross the line. Right. And you're evil, and I'm good. Right. Okay, that's wrong. Right. On its face, that's wrong. Because, as you said, we need bipartisanship. We need more than two. Right. We need many voices in a conversation. And, okay, I work with language, and I'm working with students all the time on language. And one of the things I work on them is recognizing that if you have an issue, there are more than two sides to this issue. Right. There are many sides to this issue. In fact, there are as many sides as there are people in the room. Yeah. And each one of them, in a democratic republic as such as ours, each idea should be welcomed. Right. Should be given respect and place. Right. And that's a very hard concept. And when you have people who are low information on either side of the political spectrum, then you get a lot of disrespect. Paranoia grows out of it, and general fear of anyone who's different than you are. Right.
If we don't talk to one another, nobody wins, and I don't think people realize that. I think they think if I don't talk to the other side, well, then we win. Labels are a shortcut to thinking and a shortcut in speech, and if there were a way to make them, but that makes them incredibly polarizing. You know, a label automatically distances you from anybody. Right. You know, I say that, as a person who I use labels, I use those same shortcuts like anybody else, but I also recognize at the same time the need to either not necessarily get rid of them because we can't, but to make them put less stink on them. I suppose.
Just a really, this is a really rudimentary allegory, but. It's like I'm a 49ers fan, but I wouldn't say, if somebody from, the Raiders or New York Giants made a great play, I have to recognize that's a great play. Yes. If there's a blown call, right, against the Niners, when the Niners are playing, the New York Giants, right? I gotta recognize that. I think this is very simplistic. Well, no. Go back to sports.
I think that's a good idea because sports play a pretty prominent role in our culture as well. I think that's a good analogy.
Well, that's another big can of worms.
Well, and we're not going to open it. But I just want to say I think that's a great way to put it.
The unfortunate part is, through the years, a lot of these labels, which it should just indicate a certain slant, just a slight slant. Yeah. These words become really toxic. I remember, like, during the entire 90s, Rush Limbaugh was just demonizing the word liberal. It became as bad as
Hitler. And it's still used. That's lib thought. That's lib math.
Certain other words like pro-choice and pro-life. Right. And it became so toxic that once you throw that out, it's the end of the discussion, which is unfortunate.
And it's shouting one another down in pursuit of winning the argument, which you haven't won anything.
Right, and resort to which is interesting too, because we got. I think sports is wonderful. I'm as big as a sports fan as anybody, but it became sports. Yes. When politics became sports, there's only a win or lose.
That's it.
And American concept, there is not even tied. It's so weird. 49ers has a tie game this year. It's like everybody were like, what? I don't know what's going on. Like, what's wrong with you soccer people? Tie. There's not that tie is even tied the tie. But even with tie, there's only three outcomes. Right. Win, lose, or tie. Right. I mean, I think a lot of American conceptual understanding is all based on a
Black and
sports
white.
outcome. That is not good because a lot of times it's not like that. I mean, you're going to get like 59% and 41% of what you want. I'm not going to. Well, anyway, so that's it.
Hey, no.
So what else? What else, Melvin?
Well, it's nice. You know, we complained a bit about Obama. We didn't get all the things we wanted, but the great thing, and I remember it's been almost 10 years now since the country first went to war. So it was nice to see things wind down really well, and this last year in Iraq. And I'm really looking forward to the end, or at least winding down to Afghanistan.
Right.
I think once we stop spending money on those wars, we'll have more money and more of our people back home. I think having our people back from the war zone is going to be very positive. Obviously, we're going to have to deal with years and years of PTSD and diseases that they bring back, but at least they'll be home. And we can know that this year and the next year and the year after that, at least for those years, we're not going to go back into war, because Obama's not just going to start a war because he's got buddies that in the defense industry that need to make money. So I'm looking forward to that in the new year.
Well, although there's stuff that we don't know about.
Well, to that end, there are atrocities against human beings committed in the name of the United States, and I would like to see those end.
Right.
And they began. Well, they didn't begin with this, but they were perpetuated through the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. And that is, I would like to see all those sites where we have people held, like Guantanamo, closed down. We have sites elsewhere in the world still, secret CIA.
Didn't I just see a report of this secret prison we have in Romania somewhere?
Yes.
Yeah.
That know.
This and on the idea of bringing people together, I think we can all agree on things like that. I don't think that's a left or right issue. We don't. Most people aren't okay with torture. Most people aren't okay with killing.
Unless your name is Donald Rumsfeld.
Well, and that's how you make your money.
Let's bring back horrible memories. Paul Wolfowitz.
Oh, Paul Wolf with a Wolfowitz doctrine.
Can I go into my wish list?
Yes, you may. Please.
Okay. A couple of things I think we can all agree on. The beeping, that's a coffee maker. I want to see more on gun control. Yes. I mean, I want to see something finally move, because I think after this is a really cruel way to say it, but I hope the Connecticut massacre is kind of the tipping point.
Right.
I think it's already happening.
Right.
Even the citizens who are our fellow citizens who are normally very pro-gun, a lot of them, as far as I can tell from the news, a lot of think that's something that needs to happen. I mean, nobody needs to have AR-15 running around town. I hope. And to me, I'm going to get myself in trouble. I don't know how much trouble I'm going to get in. But I think in terms of gun control, I mean, gun control isn't really gun control until the total number of weapons is reduced.
Yes.
That doesn't. I mean, more guns is not safer.
No,
it's not safer. It's just more feared. Anyway. Oh, by the way, but did anybody see this? Somebody turned in, L.A. in Los Angeles. They have a gun buyback.
The buyback.
The Ralphs.
There've been quite a few buybacks,
and then there's somebody turned in a law. Shoulder launch rocket.
Oh, I heard about that.
What?
There's no rocket inside.
Right,
it's already
but they
launched.
turned in one of those shoulder
Somebody turned in a rocket launcher.
Holy crap!
So how much did Ralphs give them for that? Because they're giving like $200 worth of groceries and things like that.
I don't know.
That thing must have been worth something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's one less person that can take down a helicopter now.
Right. So
Thank you.
Well, there's no rocket. That's already.
Well, I know.
How the thing is,
how
do they smuggle
them?
that
I know.
back?
You can't. I don't think you can walk into a gun shop and buy.
How do you get to an airport with it?
I think it has to
brought it back from the military, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, but how do you get to an airport with that?
Well, I mean,
it was probably in the days before TSA. He brought it back.
Well, it's I mean,
obviously, bag, then he could put it in his check bag, and then God, your bag is long. Put it in his check bag and get home.
It was showing up in L.A.
Yeah,
in front of Lucky or Ralph.
It doesn't surprise me that it was L.A.
But to go back to, I really
what
want
else
to
is
see.
out there?
I really want to see the president the Congress start moving on this.
Yes,
because, because this is ridiculous. I mean, we just have yesterday. Oh, so here locally in Spokane, there was another gun incident. 2 nights ago. Yeah, 2 nights ago. It's basically, I know, hopefully it's not disrespectful. It's in the news, so I guess we can talk about it. But it's just right by South Hill. It's 2 friends. One is showing off a weapon, and then accidentally fired, shot the other person in the head.
And she just died this morning.
Right.
She did.
Right.
Yeah,
she did.
Another one. And you know what? Please don't argue with me about gun is not the problem, because you know if he's just showing off a knife,
yeah, he's not likely to stab her by accident.
Chances are she's not going to die.
The really bad thing about that, they were drinking. That
right.
They were drinking.
Right.
And he thought he'd pull it out and show everybody, and it,
right.
hit her in the head. And,
so something need to move over there in terms of the gun control. And
I
don't know how. I mean, I'm saying something that I don't have a solution for, but you really have to think of other incentives for people to give up their weapons.
Oh, I think we could come up with lots of incentives.
Right.
I think so too.
I think Ralph's is the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
I think we could.
I think
There has to be a universal understanding that gun is overall a negative thing, for the world, in the overall karma of the entire existence of humanity.
And
right?
in the spirit of us coming together again, I think that this is a subject that most of us can agree on.
Right.
We were all horrified.
Well, most of us. The key word is most of us.
Most of us. Which is all we need. I mean, those on the fringes, let them stay on the fringes. If most of us can come together, then we can talk about it.
Right. Okay. Thing number 2.
Yes.
Item B on my wish list. I hope the president already acknowledged right after the press conference right after the election is already, it's already brewing on the background. But it may not be for the first time, but it's a really prominent way to say global warming or global climate change is happening. Right. So I think I hope again
when people in New Jersey have sharks in their front yard,
right.
I think.
Well, actually, that's kind of a hoax.
We're making. I know
the pictures are gone, but it's happening, man. I mean, and we are, for some reason, the U.S. is really behind on this, on alternative energy, and although I have a friend who argued that, well, you know what, alternative energy, the best alternative energy is don't use it.
Yeah.
Well, okay, well, fine. That's the end.
At least we have a president that believes in it, so we can move somewhat forward on it. So
we need to move.
It's only taken us since Jimmy Carter.
I mean, all that is not just on. I almost think that we got into a mentality that global warming, the melting ice cap thing, because we watch it on Discovery Channel. It's all happening out there. It's like ancient Egyptian curse that it's just
the Mayan.
It's just happening Sunday at 4 p.m. that it's just garbage time. You just watch TV. No, it's happening right in your backyard.
Right.
It's like I don't know why, but you can still deny it, but. I'm sure our listeners in Hong Kong can attest to this. There is no winter in Hong Kong. When we were kids, there's a clear seasons.
Right.
In Hong Kong, there's a winter. It's cold as heck. There isn't anymore. I mean, there would be a week that's just cold for some reason, but it's just the weather. It's happening, man.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole weather thing is happening. So I hope there is more formal kind of policy change going in that. I'm already seeing things happening, up here in Washington, down in this, southern part of Washington.
Yeah.
There are a lot of wind turbines, all over the place. I hope more happening there.
Good.
And then I only have one.
I
only have one more thing in my wish list,
and
I'm not asking for too much. I hope we start having a better. We start having better conversations and policies in terms of transportation.
Oh, I'm with you.
High-speed rail.
Yes.
I think they're already constructing the one from San Francisco to L.A. in California, but that's not enough. I mean, God, for God's sake, I mean,
Could
Japan.
little bitty Spokane, Washington?
Right. Well, we can be just a station. I would take it if we're just a station from here to Chicago. From Seattle to Chicago.
Yeah.
Right?
You could get off in Coeur d'Alene.
From Vancouver to Chicago.
There you go.
But something needs to happen because, it's crazy how we, well, not just the personal inconvenience of flying itself, right, in the airport and going through TSA checks and all that. But, a rail is so much more you can argue that, I'm sure.
No.
So much more a more efficient way
Yes.
to travel in terms of moving stuff.
But there aren't enough Americans who've gone to Europe and actually experienced.
Right, Europe and Japan has been doing it for years. And yes, there's high-speed rail in China, but I'm sure we can discuss the China thing. That's a whole separate discussion. Yes, they do have a high-speed rail system, but there are a lot of corruption going. But
I like your list, and I think it's a little more realistic than mine is, actually.
But
Mine is far more realistic than mine.
the
Tea Party's not going away.
I want all the world.
I want people talking.
Children of the world hold hands and sing a song together. No.
Yeah, that's
Kumbaya.
Hey, that would be nice.
But I think I mean even other stuff like the money we're going to save for or the money that can be diverted from ending the war go more into infrastructure.
Investing in infrastructure.
I mean, I'm sorry, we would drive locally here in Spokane, right? There are potholes all over the place that would kill your car. Conspiracy theory. It's like tire company actually not conspire. No, but you know what I'm saying? Like the
softening up the road.
A lot of stuff is falling apart.
Right.
A lot of roads and all
Bridges.
that. And I'm I mean, I don't
Not
know.
to
Remember,
mention our electrical grid, which is
right, it's
really
ridiculous.
vulnerable.
Every time we have a windstorm, we're like, oh, is power going to go out? That's crazy.
Can we get those underground now?
Oh, gee.
What
a concept,
hey,
Melvin.
Once again, my wish list way out there. But if we got the power lines underground, have any storm you want.
Right.
No one's going to lose power.
Right, and I mean, remember that the bridge collapsed in Minnesota? This is like a few years ago.
I remember. Yeah, it was terrible.
I don't want to ever see that
Me either.
happening anywhere. So I guess that's my wish list. I'm not asking for much, but at least I would at least want to see the president. Because he got a second term, he doesn't need to run again.
He's not.
So let's just go do something like just a little bit
something lasting.
Yes.
That will piss certain people off a little bit more, but that will
Where's that conversation?
Right. Okay, so. Well, I know we try to be light and funny all through the show. This is like already we hit the hour mark, but you know what? Let's just like segue into something really light and fun for the end of 2012. Let's do a kind of a movie pick for the year. That's like out from left field, totally, right? What movie picks?
Movie pick.
I don't know. You guys are not a movie review show, right? But yeah, what the heck? So
well, we all watch movies.
So Angela, for 2012, which movie?
So normally I would pick an independent film, by the way, okay? Because I usually go to the Spokane International Film Festival at least, okay? But
Spiff.
Just saw Lincoln last night, and I realized it's Spielberg, and Spielberg is the
Warhorse.
What would you call him? Yeah,
Grandiose.
Okay, but this is based on the Doris Kearns Goodwin book. My husband read it years ago, and it's sitting on my shelf now, haunting me. And I've got to go read it.
An actual historian.
An actual historian.
Who spent 10 years writing the book.
An actual historian, and Steve actually was privileged to hear her.
Well, sorry, it's 2012, and this thing is coming out of a book by an actual historian, not some dude just writing a blog.
Exactly. Exactly. It's really what history is. Research. Okay. And the thing about this movie that really struck me, okay, aside from the fact that the actors are phenomenal, and I just don't even want to go into how many actors did a fine job in this, but Tommy Lee Jones, you have to see the part played by Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, who was Al Gore's roommate, by the way, in college?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I didn't
know that.
Something I needed to know. Okay, but there are so many parallels to what's going on in American politics right now, with a president, with a divided country, with a lot of things on the table that have to do with civil rights and human rights and some really important issues. Okay, so now we're talking about, things like gun control. Back then they were talking about whether African Americans should be equal under the law, how the 13th Amendment actually was compromised and how it eventually evolved into the 13th Amendment. And just the stipulation of making those people, there I go, that's not really good at all, African American people, making them, instead of people's property, making them equal, but equal under the law. Yeah. And this was an important stipulation in that compromise, was they were equal under the law according to that compromised amendment, but not equal in terms of being equal to everyone else. And what some of the things that are brought up is if we allow them to vote, if we allow them to marry white people, if we go that far, then we head down the slippery slope to women, by the way, being allowed to vote. That's one of the things that comes up. Anyway, just the many things that come up surrounding that, and what that man had to do because he thought it was his position to defend the Constitution, which it is. They take an oath of office to defend the Constitution. Just made me think a lot of our own president right now.
Man, you know what? But let me just stop you right there. A lot what what ended up happening really scared me. Let's not go there. If you know what I'm
Yes,
talking.
I know what you're talking about.
Go ahead.
All right.
That's my
That's a lot of parallels.
Hey!
A lot of parallels.
Time for
to what we're going through. Sorry,
That's okay.
What we're going through, because I think the major civil right thing that we're dealing with right now, happening like out there in the snow, is gay marriage, and I think a lot of that. I don't know. We can argue with the scale. Is that
yes.
it's the same? But
you're right.
I think last night or the night before, last night or recently, very recently, like last night, really, Maine, they start having gay marriage. I mean, state of Washington, we already have it like 3 weeks ago, right? But Maine has it start doing it last night, and I'm just reading. I shouldn't be doing that, but there was the news story, and there was always comments,
Right.
Yes.
It's the same thing. Where did we go? I mean, after that, two women can get married. Polygamy? Are we like,
Can a guy marry a dog?
Dogs
I've
now?
heard that one. Yeah.
Dogs and trees getting married.
So anyway, that's enough. I thought we're not. I'm sorry, we're not going to.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Hey,
Melvin, man.
My pick for the year, and I don't watch too many movies, nor do I need go to the theater. But I did turn out to the theater for Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter.
Hey,
which okay, they don't try to change a lot of the history about him. They do this thing where he is in his secret life outside of when he's not president or.
Wait, is that written by another book written by Doris Kearns Goodwin?
No, there's not this one. Yeah, this one certainly not as accurate.
This one is fictional. This one is fictional.
But an incredible,
as far as we know,
an incredible amount of fun. And of course, we saw it in 3D. So when he throws the axes, you see the axes come at you, and the 3D technology for movies now is pretty impressive. And so it was fun. I certainly recommend it. But you have to be at least a teeny tiny bit into horror, because there is some gore. He's pretty merciless against the vampires, But I want to tell you the end.
No, do not.
He does make this vampire friend. Anyway, Melvin's pick for the year.
It's the spoiler.
I'm not going to spoil
no spoilers,
it. I'm not going to spoil it, but it ended. So I was watching it. How are they going to end it? And when they did, I thought it was so fun the way it finally ended.
I can just see it. There's a battalion of spoiler police like standing by right out
freaking
there.
So, so let's move into Kevin's.
Okay.
Wrap up the year.
All right. So I think Angela brought up the Spokane International Film Festival. A very great happening there. And the one that I remember, I mean, I don't really see a lot of movies through the years, but I guess I see enough of it. And one of the movie that I remember seeing this year, but not necessarily produced this year, I think it was a couple of years ago, is actually I saw it at this film festival. It's a movie from the Philippines. The name of the movie, I might have to dig around for this. The name of the movie is The Woman in the Septic Tank. That sounds horrible. It sounds like a horror movie, but it's actually not. I'm not going to give it away again, but I think the movie in itself it doesn't look like a huge production or anything, but it does feature one of the prominent Filipino stars. I'm not going to give away, but the premise of the movie basically is a couple of college students. I'm thinking they're college students, a group of college students. They're trying to college or film students. They're trying to do a project the project is they're trying to do a film that talks about the slums, the poor people in Manila. And then it just turned into this entire fiasco. And in a way, I think it's kind of if you ask me, I think it's a social commentary that that sometimes the middle class and the upper middle class in the society, they're so shielded from certain realities of life that everything to them becomes kind of a movie.
Right.
Everything to them becomes not reality. Everything, like, we just went into the climate change thing, the ice cap melting is what you see on TV, Discovery Channel. It's kind of turned into that. It's not reality to them. It's not real to them.
Right.
It's a project, it's a film, it's something fun, it's something that can turn into a musical, So I think I just gave it away a little bit there.
That's
But,
okay.
seek out this movie. It's a really...
I'll seek it.
The movie itself it's very light. It's funny. There's a lot of funny elements in there, and the movie is itself is very light in terms of tone. But once you start thinking about it, it's actually not. So that's.
And it sounds like
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So
Yeah.
Hey, this is let's
wrap up 2012.
That's an hour of this.
Parting words, Angela.
Yeah.
Put you on the spot. Sorry.
Parting words. Happy 2013.
Awesome.
All right. I guess Melvin, Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year to you. I'd like to close out by saying we are the fire that you can't put out. Thank you for your continued support. We will prevail. Happy 2013, everybody.
All right. Happy New Year, everybody. See you on the flip side.